Italy is the home of some of the world's largest pesto producers, with companies like Barilla leading the way. Their Rubiano plant near Parma, spanning 30,000 square meters, is Europe's largest sauce and pesto production facility. The love for this fragrant green sauce has spread far beyond its homeland, becoming a staple in kitchens and restaurants worldwide. From pasta dishes to gourmet sandwiches and salad dressings, pesto has cemented itself as a versatile and beloved ingredient across cultures. So, how is pesto made in a modern factory? Join us as we go behind the scenes to explore the journey from basil fields to factory production, uncovering every step in the making of this iconic sauce. Before we continue, make sure to like and subscribe. Your support is crucial for the growth of our channel and motivates us to create more fascinating food discovery tours for you. The journey begins with tiny basil seeds, which are first sown in temperature-controlled greenhouses. Here, they germinate in carefully monitored conditions to ensure strong, healthy seedlings. After about 2 to 3 weeks, once the young plants have developed a few sets of leaves, they are transplanted into open fields or larger greenhouse plots. Basil needs consistent watering, but too much moisture can lead to root rot, so irrigation is carefully controlled. Some farms use drip irrigation systems, delivering water directly to the roots without soaking the leaves, ensuring optimal growth while conserving water. After about 40 to 60 days, the basil reaches its peak freshness and is ready for harvesting. Timing is everything. Basil is picked early in the morning when its essential oils are most concentrated. This ensures the most intense flavor and aroma in the final pesto. In small farms, basil is often hand-picked, but in large-scale production, specialized mechanical harvesters are used. These machines carefully trim the upper part of the plant, leaving the lower leaves and stems intact so the basil can continue growing for future harvests. This method allows multiple harvests from the same plant over a season. As soon as the basil is harvested, time is of the essence. Basil is extremely perishable. It begins to wilt and lose its vibrant green color within hours if not handled properly. That's why it is immediately transported to a nearby processing facility, where it will be washed, chilled, and prepared for pesto production. While basil is the main ingredient, authentic pesto requires a precise combination of other high-quality ingredients. Let's take a look at where they come from. Pine nuts are the small but mighty seeds of pine trees. Due to their labor-intensive harvesting process, they are one of the most expensive nuts in the world. The best pesto uses Mediterranean pine nuts, prized for their buttery texture and delicate flavor. Parmigiano Reggiano, aged for at least 12 months, is responsible for the rich, nutty taste in pesto. Some recipes also include Pecorino Romano, a sharper sheep's milk cheese. Extra virgin olive oil is the liquid gold that binds pesto together. High-quality Italian olive oil provides smoothness and enhances the basil's natural aroma. Garlic adds a punch of flavor, while sea salt balances the taste. Some factories use Ligurian rock salt, which dissolves well and preserves the bright green color of the sauce. The first step in the factory process is a thorough quality inspection of all ingredients. As soon as the basil arrives, it is checked for color, texture, and aroma. Any leaves that appear wilted, damaged, or discolored are removed before moving to the next stage. Once approved, the basil goes through an advanced washing system. The leaves pass through multiple stages of washing, first in plain water to remove dirt, then in a cold water bath with gentle agitation to remove any remaining debris. After washing, the basil is rapidly chilled to near freezing temperatures. This step is critical. Without immediate chilling, basil can start to darken and lose its fresh flavor due to oxidation. The heart of the pesto making process is the blending stage. In small scale, homemade pesto, a mortar and pestle is used. But in a factory, large stainless steel grinders finely process the basil. breaking it down while preserving its natural oils and flavor. The basil is first ground into a coarse paste. Then pine nuts, garlic, and cheese are gradually added. The machine is carefully calibrated to mix the ingredients without overheating them, as excessive heat could damage the basil's natural aroma and vibrant green color. One of the most crucial steps in pesto production is the emulsification process. Olive oil is gradually drizzled in while the mixture is continuously stirred at a controlled speed. This creates a smooth, creamy texture that evenly distributes flavors. The mixture is regularly checked for texture, color, and taste to ensure it meets quality standards. Before the pesto can be packaged, it goes through extensive quality control checks. Samples are taken from each batch to be tested for color consistency, ensuring the green hue remains vibrant, pH levels, confirming acidity is within safe limits for preservation, microbial testing, detecting any possible bacteria or contaminants. A specialized team also conducts sensory evaluations, tasting the pesto to make sure it has the right balance of basil, garlic, cheese, and olive oil. Once the pesto passes all tests, it is moved to the filling and packaging station. Jars are pre-sterilized to ensure food safety before they are filled with fresh pesto using precision filling machines. Each jar is vacuum sealed to lock in freshness and extend shelf life. A label is then applied, often including a batch number and expiration date for tracking. To guarantee top quality pesto reaches consumers, a final inspection is carried out. Jars are checked for correct sealing, label accuracy, and overall presentation. Once approved, the jars are stored in temperature-controlled warehouses, waiting to be shipped to supermarkets, restaurants, and homes around the world. And just like that, fresh basil is transformed into a jar of pesto, ready to be enjoyed anywhere in the world. Thanks to modern food processing technology, factory-made pesto maintains the same rich, aromatic flavors that have been cherished in Italian cuisine for generations. And that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on more foodie adventures. And just in case you have missed some of the older episodes, we have you covered. We have attached a special selection of past Fact Review episodes to this video. So stay with us and enjoy more fascinating food discoveries here with Fact Review. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode. Imagine this. You are cooking your lunch and want to give your chicken some extra kick. You open the kitchen drawer and there you find it. The magic little bottle that makes every meal taste better. Today we're heading inside the factory to uncover the magic. But before we enter the factory, let's uncover the legend of this world-famous sauce. Leah & Perrins is the original creator of the Worcestershire sauce and a globally recognized brand with a storied history dating back nearly 2 centuries. John Wheatley Leah and William Henry Perrins were chemists living in Worcester, England. In the early 19th century, they owned a pharmacy and worked together to create new medicinal and culinary products. Legend has it that in the early 1830s, a local nobleman, Lord Sandys, asked Leah and Perrins to replicate a sauce he had enjoyed in India. The chemist mixed various ingredients, including vinegar, tamarind, anchovies, and spices, but the initial batch was reportedly too strong and unpleasant. They left it to sit in barrels in their basement, forgotten for months. When rediscovered, the sauce had mellowed and developed a complex, delicious flavor. Thus, Worcestershire sauce was born. In 1837, Leah and Perrins began selling their Worcestershire sauce commercially. It quickly gained popularity in England as a versatile condiment for enhancing meat, soups, and stews. The exact recipe for Leah and Perrins' Worcestershire sauce remains a closely guarded secret. While many brands produce similar sauces, Leah and Perrins' blend of ingredients and fermentation process sets it apart. Leah and Perrins' Worcestershire sauce has become a culinary icon, widely used in recipes around the world. But the sauce is by far not only used in classic dishes like shepherd's pies, stews, or roasted meats. It is a key ingredient in the Bloody Mary cocktail too. By the way, what is your favorite way of using Worcestershire sauce? Comment below the video. I'm curious to know. All right, now we're in the heart of the factory, and it all starts here, with the ingredients. But before we go over the factory process, I would kindly like to ask you for a favor. We are putting our utmost effort into the videos for you, and your support is crucial for the growth of our channel. We would love creating more fascinating food discovery videos for you. So please, subscribe to our channel, like, and share with your favorite people. Worcestershire sauce is a complex blend of ingredients that combine to create its unique, tangy, savory, and slightly sweet flavor. Here's a detailed breakdown of its key components. First, vinegar. Vinegar is the primary base of Worcestershire sauce, providing its sharp, tangy taste and acting as a natural preservative. Malt vinegar is made from malted barley and has a deep, slightly nutty flavor, while spirit vinegar is more neutral and sharp. Together, they create the sauce's acidic foundation. Second ingredient, molasses. Molasses adds sweetness and depth, balancing the sauce's acidity. This thick, dark syrup, a byproduct of sugar production, lends a rich, caramel-like undertone to the flavor profile. Third key ingredient, tamarind extract. Tamarind gives Worcestershire sauce its characteristic tangy, sour note. Tamarind is a fruit with a sticky pulp that has a sweet and sour flavor. It enhances the sauce's complexity and complements the vinegar's sharpness. And now, the fourth ingredient, probably the most surprising ingredient of all, anchovies. Don't worry, by the time the process is done, you won't even know they're in there. These small, salt-cured fish are broken down during fermentation, infusing the sauce with depth and richness. Fifth on the list, onions and garlic. These vegetables add aromatic, savory notes to the sauce. Onions and garlic are usually pureed or chopped finely and allowed to ferment with the other ingredients, contributing subtle pungency and flavor complexity. Sixth ingredient, sugar. Yes, dear cooking fans, a little bit of sugar is needed in our favorite sauce. It balances the tangy and salty flavors with a touch of sweetness. The sweetness is not overpowering, but provides a smooth harmony among the bold flavors. And finally, spices and seasonings. Spices are essential for the sauce's warm, earthly undertones and complexity. Common spices used are cloves, cinnamon, black pepper, and chili pepper or cayenne pepper, salt, and some proprietary blend of different other spices. And, of course, a little bit of water. All right, guys, I told you that Worcestershire sauce has character, and the mix is pretty complex. But have you ever expected such a long list? No, me neither. And now, let's start to dive deeper into how all those many things come together to a harmonious and rich sauce. Once all the ingredients are prepped, it's time to mix them together. This massive vat is where the magic begins. Everything is added in precise amounts to create the perfect flavor balance. The vinegar dissolves the sugar and tamarind, while the anchovies start to break down into the mixture. Let's just say it smells potent in here. But trust me, this is the beginning of something amazing. After the initial mixing, the sauce needs time to develop its signature flavor. And by time, I mean a lot of time. The mixture is poured into these huge barrels, where it's left to ferment for up to 18 months. During fermentation, the ingredients break down and blend together. The enzymes from the anchovies combined with the vinegar create that deep, savory taste. It's kind of like making wine or cheese. Good things take patience. Next, the sauce is aged again, but this time for a shorter period. This final aging step helps mellow out the flavors, creating that perfect blend of tangy, sweet, and savory. At this point, the sauce is basically Worcestershire royalty. It's ready to meet the world. Now we're at the final step, bottling. This is where the sauce goes from vats to the iconic bottles you see in stores. The bottles are filled with precise amounts, then sealed to lock in all that delicious flavor. After that, they're labeled and packed up for shipping. And just like that, these little bottles are ready to make their way to kitchens around the globe. Before we wrap up, here are some fun facts about Worcestershire sauce that'll impress your friends at dinner parties. Number 1, Worcestershire sauce is fermented for so long, it's technically shelf-stable even after opening. but refrigeration keeps it tasting fresher. Number 2, it's a secret ingredient in many famous recipes, from Caesar salad dressing to barbecue sauce. Number 3, Leah and Perrins, the original creators, still use the same recipe from 1837. Talk about a classic. Now that we all know how it's made, let's talk about how to use it. Worcestershire sauce isn't just for marinades and cocktails. It's super versatile. Add a dash to your scrambled eggs for extra flavor. Mix it into a burger patty for a juicy twist, or drizzle it over roasted veggies. If you have any other idea of how to use it, comment below the video. Would love to hear your creative ideas. And there you have it, the journey of Worcestershire sauce, from raw ingredients to the bottle on your shelf. It's a fascinating mix of science, tradition, and a little bit of mystery. What's your favorite way to use Worcestershire sauce? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more behind-the-scenes food adventures with Factor Review. Hey there, syrup lovers! Did you know that the maple syrup industry in North America produces around 3.5 million gallons of syrup every year? That's a lot of maple goodness. But here's the thing. Making that syrup is no easy feat. It takes a precise combination of nature, tradition, and technology to create that golden, sweet liquid we all know and love. So, how exactly is maple syrup made? Well, let's take a deep dive into the process. But before we jump in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more sweet content. Let's begin where all the magic starts, tapping the trees. In early spring, when the temperatures start to fluctuate between freezing nights and warm days, the sap in sugar maple trees begins to flow. But how do we get that sap out? Well, we need to tap the trees. Tapping is done by drilling a small hole in the tree trunk and inserting a metal spout called a tap. These taps are usually connected to buckets or modern tubing systems that run between trees to collect the sap. The sap is mostly water, with just a little bit of sugar in it, about 2 to 3%. And it takes a lot of sap to make just 1 gallon of syrup. In fact, it takes about 40 gallons of sap to make just 1 gallon of pure maple syrup. After the trees are tapped, the sap begins to flow. But how does it get from the trees to the sugar shack where the real magic happens? Well, nature does most of the work here. The freezing nights and warming days cause pressure changes inside the tree that make the sap rise up through the trunk and flow out of the tap. This process can last for a few weeks during the early spring when the conditions are just right. The sap flows best on days when the temperature is above freezing but the nights are still cold. This temperature fluctuation causes pressure to build up inside the tree, forcing the sap out. Once the sap has been collected, it's time to move it to the next stage, harvesting the sap. In a traditional maple syrup operation, this involves gathering buckets filled with sap and transporting them to a storage tank. In more modern systems, tubing is used to transport the sap directly to a central location. Once the sap is in the tank, it's ready for the next big step, concentrating. Fresh maple sap is mostly water and it takes a lot of sap to make syrup. So before we can start boiling, we need to concentrate that sap to save time and energy. Enter reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is a process where the sap is filtered through membranes that separate the water from the sugar. By pushing the sap through these special filters under pressure, we can remove a lot of water content before it even hits the evaporator. This makes the next step, evaporation, much faster and more energy efficient. This saves a lot of time and wood, which is good for the environment and for the syrup maker's bottom line. Now we're getting to the good stuff, evaporation. After reverse osmosis has done its job, we take the concentrated sap and boil it down in a giant evaporator. The evaporator is an industrial-sized pan that sits over a fire or a propane burner. The goal here is simple: get rid of as much water as possible until the sap becomes thick enough to be syrup. As the sap boils, it changes. The water evaporates and the syrup slowly starts to take shape, changing color and becoming more concentrated. This is a delicate process because we need to boil the sap to exactly the right consistency and temperature. The syrup is done when it reaches about 219 degrees Fahrenheit, 104 degrees Celsius. At that point, the sap has reached about 66% sugar content, and the liquid is thick enough to be considered syrup. But boiling it to the right temperature isn't just about making syrup. It also brings out the flavor. That's where the Maillard reaction comes into play. This is a process that happens when sugars and amino acids in the sap react together under heat. It's what gives syrup its rich, complex flavor and its darker color. As the sap boils, the sugars in the sap break down and caramelize, creating those delicious caramel and butterscotch flavors we love. The longer the sap boils, the darker and richer the syrup becomes, which is why late-season syrup has that bold, robust flavor. So, next time you pour syrup over your pancakes, you can thank the Maillard reaction for all that deep, caramel goodness. After the syrup is ready, it's filtered one last time to remove any final impurities. And then it's poured into bottles or jars. From here, it's ready to be labeled, packaged, and shipped out to stores all over the world. And that's it. From tree to table, the journey of maple syrup is a sweet one that requires precision, skill, and a little bit of magic from both nature and technology. Now, every time you pour syrup on your waffles or pancakes, you'll know exactly how it made its way to your plate.